Um, so we'll continue on with our program here. And next person up on the agenda is Marshall Beecher. Marshall, are you ready?
Sure. Can you hear me? Is my microphone working?
I can hear you.
I see a lot of nods. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Get this done here. All right. All right. Can everybody see everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just a quick little background about me. Some people I know, some people I don't. Kind of new to this group, actually. My name is Marshall Beecher. I'm a Wisconsin native. I've lived in Chicago area for about 20 years now. These are just a bunch of photos I've taken, I don't know, the last, whatever it is, 2008, 10, about 13 years, from about 2008 to 2021. Hanging around the south side of Chicago, in the Calumet region, which is basically south of the Calumet River. This is just a collection of some images that I have. No music or anything, just some boring narration. So hopefully everybody stays awake. So let's get to it. So looking at a map, this kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like. If you can imagine, Chicago is further to the top of the screen. Lake Michigan's the big blue patch on the right. Different names of the Calumet River come off of Lake Michigan, head south, and then head towards the west and the east, which is all the blue lines you see inland. The region is kind of defined by that. So we'll kind of start at the top, right about where it says Calumet up there, where the header is on the state line there along the former Conrail Chicago line. We'll work our way towards the mills, which is what I think really defines the Calumet region, is all the industry and the steel mills. Work towards Cal Tower, Gibson area. Then we'll swing kind of back towards the west, towards Calumet Park, Dalton, Blue Island, and we'll finish in that area. We'll take a few little side trips with the South Shore and Chicago Rail Link as well. There'll be just a couple images kind of respective of what they have going on. But the basic thing, the theme I guess I could show or talk about is change. Since 2008, there's been a lot of change down there. Lots of signals have changed, PTC's changed things. The power on trains has changed, as you'll see. So let's just get right into it here. First shot here, we're on the Chicago line. This is a westbound NS freight train on the Chicago line, CP 507, which is a control point there by the Hammond Whiting station on the Chicago line. Leading is what is now no longer in use anymore, a former Burlington Northern SD60M that Norfolk Southern got secondhand and only used for a bunch of years. Now they've cut down on their power so much, they've actually literally scrapped some of these. Some have been sent to leasing companies, so forth. So again, power you can't shoot anymore. Also, the three tracks that you see is all part of a expansion project they did with Amtrak, which also took down a lot of the old signals from the predecessor roads like the Pennsylvania. Some spots, the New York Central, depending on which side of the line here. This is the former Pennsylvania here. Why am I not? There we go. Next one, this is a Z5R unit oil train coming westbound at CP 506, which is just east of the Hammond Whiting station. Again, old Pennsylvania signals, Western style signal bridge for the Pennsylvania. This is all gone now. Now they've expanded the track capacity and signaling capacity of the railroad. A few little strange things at night at the same spot. This is the Conrail Heritage engine leading a westbound train. Again, used to kind of make a point at night to come out here and get some different stuff just because I knew the signals weren't going to be around forever. Next, stayed up all night and waited for the Canadian Pacific OCS train to come underneath the signal bridge, same spot. They were coming out of Detroit, Michigan, which is the route that some of their haulage trains use on the Norfolk Southern. This is looking the other way from the same signal bridge. This is an M4A, which is an extra section of an 18A train that comes from the UP at Proviso, goes to Elkhart. Again, this day, the Northwestern locomotive here was supposed to trail the train. They had engine problems. They had to turn the power and ended up being leading. So for a morning in the winter, it was a perfect opportunity. This is 14A, which is the regular section number of that train that comes out of Proviso. This day they had a relatively retouched Rio Grande Heritage engine, 1989. These the New York Central style G signals that you see on either side are now all replaced. There's actually triple track through here now. Another locomotive rarity. This is getting further towards the mills of East Chicago. This is a Westbound 25V train. It had one of the two yellow-nosed Norfolk Southern AC conversion locomotives, the 1800. This probably was the first run that they had of this thing coming into Chicago. This is looking back the other way. It's another eastbound train meeting a westbound. On the left are the two container trains are, the Norfolk Southern. On the right is the former CSX old B&O CT trackage that Chicago Short Line uses and CSX uses for unit trains that go to like the Chicago Short Line in the mills. Same view, just a little bit more of an angle. I'll like say about some of the locations. Some of the locations are pretty accessible. Some are a little bit iffy. This is an overpass that belongs to Ursular Middle Steel Company. If you go up there and visit it, I wouldn't stay long. I would make sure you know what's coming and get your shots and leave, because otherwise they will ask you to leave. This is a coke train coming in. When they expanded their track, they added more yard tracks in this old BP refinery trackage, and that's where they're running on in the scene here. This is an end of the day train shot of 17N, which is a westbound symbol freight out of Elkhart, had the Pennsylvania Heritage engine. Again, it kind of gives you a good broad overview of what it all looks like here. You got all the steel mills in the background, CSX, B&O CT with the GONS, and then this is the Chicago line here. The Ursular security guy was literally tapping my shoulder, telling me to take my camera, put my camera down and drive away as the train was coming, but I had to get the shot. Moving a little bit further east, this is the Hick Drawbridge. This at one time was a man tower by a Norfolk Southern operator, Conrail operator. They used to control switches, signals, and the bridges there. Nowadays, all the dispatching functions have been given to their Chicago, what do they call it? Chicago Terminal Dispatcher now, and the operator in the drawbridge now just handles all the bridges. So this is a CSX Q388 train. Some trains come off the Belt Road of Chicago use the Chicago line to access between the Belt and CSX's trackage. This is just another NS eastbound following. I don't even know if it had the symbol, but coming through the Hick Drawbridge. Again, this is a accessible spot. You can drive up. I've never had any issues being over here. Again, I don't stick around too long. Usually go when the light's good and then leave. But I would think you could possibly run into somebody who maybe wouldn't want you there. But if you're not crossing the tracks and being responsible, it's probably okay to do. This is a telly looking down at Hick. This is a W08 train, which came off of CN. He had a BC rail leader coming through CP 503. And then here's a wide angle view of it. Pretty clean for its day. I think it had already been in storage and back out of storage, which is why they have the EMT spray paint on the fuel tank, indicating whether the fuel was empty or full. But this is one of the last times they really kind of ran on the Chicago line for sure, going over to Elkhart. Moving just a little further east, this is a, what do I got here? It's a 65W, it's another unit empty oil train coming westbound at CP 503. Once again, track realignments and signal enhancements have gotten rid of these old style G signals that are on this signal bridge here. Here's the change. This is now, this here is a 23M westbound with the AC conversion General Electric locomotive, 4000, one of the two, the blue nose. Again, here you can see the signals have been phased out and they got the newer hoodie style signals. From atop a footbridge over by the Ursular Mills, you can get a bunch of cool action. There's a lot of wires, but you can kind of make the shot. This is a Amtrak work train that was heading to their Michigan line, which come out of Chicago on the NS and then go over to Amtrak's Michigan line at Porter, Indiana. So they had a a pull set of GEs with a work train. This is an old 58 case train, tractor train, extra train coming off the harbor at CP 503. Again, you're right here, kind of in the mills. A lot of these overhead shots you see here were all done. There's various on ramps and off ramps for casinos and for the mills and so forth. Some good double parking and really kind of a lack of heavy traffic makes it possible to pull over and get your shots. Again, probably not worth hanging around for, but if you can get the shot and leave, that works. This is the same signal bridge from behind. This is a 17V passing a 61C, which are the two trains on the right. And then Jeep 60 on the left there is just mill power, local power for NS. The Indiana Railroad SD90 was something that NS picked up secondhand from CIT, and they were later rebuilt into other things, but for a while they ran around in Indiana Railroad paint. This is a B09. This is one bridge over. In the background, you can see the holding yard where they put things. This was you can see a BNSF taconite train that's in there, holding to be unloaded and whatnot. The steel train is a daily train that the NS uses, that they get steel from the mills that the Indiana Harbor Belt delivers to them, and then they take it to a rolling mill out near New Carlisle, Indiana. You'll see the harbor version of this train later in the show here. Same bridge, telephotos, with the old signals in the background that have now been replaced. This was a 34G Sybil train going to Elkhart, and he had a Ferromex leader. Sort of the theme that you see around the lake is water, lots of industry, coal, heavy industry gons, and then pleasure boats, well, casino boats, whatnot. It all kind of mixes together, which makes for some cool shots. This is back at the Ursular middle footbridge. Again, it's kind of busy. There's a lot of wires, but you can get a lot of neat shots and see a lot of cool things. I've never really had a problem being up on this bridge because it's not really on private property, but I've heard various levels of success or failure there. But it's a good spot to see trains, and it all faces towards the north when you're looking at it. Looking south, there's another bridge there, so you can't see further too far. But this is a CSX coal train that's coming in. Same train, another bridge further down. You see some of the coal trains staged. On the left, there's an NS1. On the right, there's another NS empty. A lot of activity here between all the railroads right here, interchanging all the heavy traffic. This is looking back the other way, same day. Again, you see an NS1 waiting, the NS local power waiting, and then the NS brought their bottle train in, which Ursular Middle picked up with their two GP15s, and they're taking back to the mill. The bottle trains run out of Riverdale, Illinois, over the IHB, and they'll have NS power. And then when they get here to the lakefront, they'll cut their power off, and Ursular Middle will take the train and take it into their grounds. This is still along their line. This is another bridge there further north, actually. Just one of the remote control switch engines that runs around the mills. If you look closely up at the top there, they do a lot of funky track changes and arrangements. You can see where there's old switches that they pulled out and put new track in to accommodate whatever it is that they've got going on at the time. So interesting track and buildings and everything. It's kind of real interesting. This is the Ursular bottle train coming out of the yard after the NS cut off from it. Here we got NS delivering bottles from the harbor, and an Ursular switcher waiting. I don't remember whether they were the ones that went to tie onto the bottles or not. But usually they don't wait too long to make the transfer and move it over. Again, you can see there, get a good idea of their grounds here. Again, really funky track arrangements, and a lot of times it's not uncommon to see 2, 3, 4 of the Ursular jobs kind of working at once, all trying to move through here, which makes it all kind of interesting. Again, it's one of their switchers, switching bottles, pulling the bottles out for NS. Again, you can see 2 other jobs up there in the background. Once again, here's the Jeep 15s pulling on some gonds, and there's another job waiting for them to come in there with some steel ingots. Just a vertical view of the same train. 400 millimeter lens looking in from off the overpass there of an SW and a Jeep with a bunch of the steel ingots. And then here's a shot of that 4606 again coming back from Elkhart, and then one of the Ursular switchers right there and their track in the background. From here, we're going to head a little bit west of the Chicago line, the Mills area. We'll head over towards further in towards East Chicago. This is a NSB09 job coming with the empty steel coil cars that'll be handed off to the harbor to take over to the mills for loading. In the background, there's actually, you can see a CN train going through with the freight cars that are in the background. Of note, the lead engine is one of the former BN LNG natural gas locomotives. It's got the flared radiators like an SD45. Looks nice in this shot. You'll see a couple shots later what it looked like before it looked like this. We'll point it out here. This is actually a harbor job with NS engines. They're pulling out the train for B09 to take. These are the coils that are coming from across the lakefront there by their grounds. They'll pull down towards Cal Tower, usually cut the train off, and then the NS will grab it, and then they'll take it to New Carlisle. Again, a lot's changed here now. Ursular sold all this now. It's not theirs. I think it's a Cliff Series company now. So obviously the names were taken off the building. The old style G signals that were here are all gone. This was taken off the Klein Avenue Bridge, which at the time was closed. They've since reopened Klein Avenue now. But if you have a little car trouble and you know something's coming, you can get a good afternoon shot from up there. So this is them. This is the same day. There's a CP147 train with a Sioux SD60 leading. Again, passing the grounds there, CP100 coming up to CP100. And then we'll go for a comparison shot. This was just taken here in February. Name's taken off. Here's the brand new Harbor Power. This is their 115 job that goes over to Burns Harbor on NS and comes back to them. So another B09 train coming through the mills. Again, taken from Klein Avenue, similar angle, kind of more of a morning to midday angle in the fall. Not too often they get the good EMD power like you see here, so it's kind of a rarity. So when they show, I kind of made a point of trying to get out there and getting them. Moving a little bit further, this is after they come under Klein Avenue. This is at CP100. This is another B09 train. Doesn't look like really they have a train there, but it's actually a whole bunch of empty steel coil cars in the background there that they're pulling. This is an aerial drone view, just a little bit further to the west. It's one of the old rolling mills in the background. They got a harbor job working, and then you can see the pilings for what will become Klein Avenue again. Since this shot was taken, actually, Klein Avenue has been reopened, so actually there's a road going above all that again now. It's now a toll road, I guess, after they took all kinds of bridges down and had it closed off for many, many years. It's back to being open. This is the harbor pulling the steel loads to go to the NS for B09. Same spot, just a long telephoto. Obviously, they got cool NYC air signals, and there's always kind of a neat shot there in the late afternoon in the winter. Another aerial, which was just a little bit further to the west from the last aerial, the bottle train. This is B09 again coming in. The leads to the IHB's Michigan Avenue Yard are kind of down below, right in front of them, and then you can see the old mills and see a little bit more now. You know, well, now that Klein Avenue is in there again, it's kind of a little bit more of a block shot now, but it was open for a while. Relatively same location. This is a CP147 train with one of the CP Heritage engines. Again, you can see Klein Avenue is coming along a little bit better at this point, but still not all connected up. But this was fall of last year. What we got here is basically the east end of Michigan Avenue Yard, there's a harbor job switching, and then B09's coming through with their train on the main. Going a little bit further around to the south, this is a W1M auto train skirting Michigan Avenue Yard. That's Harbor's Michigan Avenue Yard on the right. You can see all the mills in the background. You can see new cantilever signals for new signals where they'll re-signal out of this portion of this Kankakee line. So around the former J and the refinery by the BP refinery, they got a job that they sent out there that's always working here and there. Harbor's bringing Coke trains over there. CSX, I think, brings Coke trains over here. It's kind of a whole hodgepodge of stuff, but you never know what you're going to find. This is I think it's a Riley Road, Riley Avenue off ramp here. You can just do a quick park and shoot if it's happening. Between there and Calumet, they go through this bridge called 631, which is an old little J tower. Just a couple absolute signals over a drawbridge. It's a set of harbor light power going by it. It's still manned. I don't know if it's as needed. I mean, there's quite a few jobs that happen here during the day. So I think at least during the day and the afternoon hours, I think it's still manned. He basically lifts and raises and lowers the bridge to navigable traffic. Then here's a harbor job on another day. Next series of shots are just shots of the bottle train. Like I say, it runs from the mills here in East Chicago and it goes over to Riverdale. They usually have at least, I think, about 2 sets that are out running during the day. So if you're anywhere between here and down the harbor towards Dalton, usually you can see them a couple times a day. This is them just after they got their train and they're leaving, coming across the Chicago line. Another high hood on a train at Cal Park. This is coming eastbound. More wide angle shot here at Cal Park, again coming westbound. At times you'll see they'll have like 3 of the ladle cars, other times they'll have 5 or 6 of the ladle cars. I'm not quite sure if it's like a boom and bust kind of thing, depending maybe on how much steel that they're rolling and building as far as how big the trains are, but sometimes you'll get kind of short ones, sometimes you'll get kind of long ones. Again, you get kind of the NS orphan power on here, so lots of Jeeps and interesting stuff like that. None of the Jevos or anything on this. It's usually the Jeeps and that kind of power on it.
Got about 2 minutes, Marshall.
Okay. This is one when there's more Conrail stuff around. This is one at Holman Avenue when the tower still stood. Here's another one at Cal Park, a little bit longer train. Again, you keep an eye out for when the rear of the train goes by. Then this is a CSX going east with a MBTA at 40. One more shot here near Dalton. Be a couple shots here. The South Shore. This is an aerial of them getting a coal train coming at Kensington, coming onto their railroad off the CN. Over near Burnham area, coming across. This is a drone shot. Last shot was a drone shot. Eastbound, same bridge, the other side in the morning with 4 of the Jeeps. The big blue bridge that they have now at Burnham. This is them where they come over to Norfolk Southern's Chicago District near Hegwish. And train following them. This is the neighborhoods of Hammond, which have all been leveled now because they're putting a transportation center in here for a line extension. And here's a freight train going through the same area. Nighttime and a job for the Belt going through the same neighborhood. Again, it's all vacant lots here now. You'd never know there was a neighborhood. This is them coming down coming up after they come along the 90 Expressway, coming into Hammond, westbound. Here's a couple shots of the CN around Kirk Yard. Again, with a long lens, you can get them looping around their whole train. That's their train in the background. And interesting power, BC rail stuff and whatnot. And then their local power gets these ICSD 70s quite a bit. This is one leaving Kirk. And same scene in the winter with a bunch of Jeeps. And another scene in the morning with another 70. Again, another 70 leading a train at Ivanhoe. And one of the locals coming through Griffith with the Grand Trunk Jeeps and a EJ&E SD. One shot here at, well, a couple shots here at Griffith. This is a eastbound Griffith. And another eastbound coming through on their line with Fairmax Power. The tower that's in the background is actually about where I was standing at one time at Griffith. This is Cal Tower, the harbor job. CSX train going across. This here was right before the tower was closed and before it was raised. They took all the siding off. And an aerial of a South Shore train on the CSX coming across the river. And a CSX train. Harbor job coming down the Kankakee line between Cal Tower and Griselli. A Coke train with NS and Harbor Power, same spot. And then a CP 147 train, same spot with a SUSD 60M lead. And bottles with a CP train waiting. And then a Harbor local with CP train waiting. More bottles down at Gibson. Some of their newer Eco Power at Gibson. Once again, old style G signals, which are no longer around. This is Chicago, Fort Wayne, Eastern on the left with the Jeeps passing the harbor job by Gibson. Another Chicago, Fort Wayne, Eastern train with former Grand Trunk Power and Indiana, Ohio Power. And another Chicago, Fort Wayne, Eastern job with their Genesee, Wyoming Power. Heading down towards Osborne, you can see the old Gibson roundhouse the harbor uses in the far background there. This is a train heading towards Kankakee, Illinois. And another one with a City Rail locomotive leaving. BN Power and a NS auto rack job here at Holman Avenue. Two things you won't see anymore over there is road railer trains and NSF units. This is a meet happening at State Line Tower. Obviously, it used to be a much bigger place. It's not so, well, it can be busy, but just not what it once was. This is moving up the line a little bit further towards Burnham and Hegwish. This is the steamer going back to Fort Wayne one June morning. Back over to the harbor, we're heading towards Blue Island. This is a CP Coke train, eastbound. Harbor job with a CSX Coke train in the background. Again, one of those spots where you can get a lot of trains at once. Sometimes they're not all moving, but makes for interesting photos. Here you got a CN rack train and a UP, and maybe not a UP freight train, just a harbor job with UP Power. CSX Q500 on the curve on their line. The 3528, which I showed you in better shape. This is when it's in the former BN paint with spray painted number boards at Cal Park. Curve at Cal Park, a UP auto train heading to Gibson with a 60M. And a CSX unit ethanol train that they got off the Iowa Interstate at Blue Island at Cal Park on the curve. A couple more shots here. We got Dalton Tower. This is a train coming off CSX off the Villa Grove subdivision onto the harbor. Quick aerial of the Iowa Pacific when they ran through there. This is a train coming up from Indianapolis. Lead engines on CSX track, second engines going over the harbor track. Tower was still manned at this point, but wasn't for long. It was closed in February 2017. One more shot of the Iowa Pacific going through Dalton in the rain. Time for a cigarette break. This is 34J waiting to leave Blue Island Yard. And waiting on other traffic, harbor traffic. This is the CF&E coming into Blue Island Yard on the harbor with Rail America powered. And a couple quick shots of the Chicago Rail Link. This is on the Rock Island, on our Rock Island district on Metro. This is a spot they call Givens. It's an old depot that's no longer standing anymore. And this is just east of Gresham with their power coming onto their home rails. And then at Pullman Junction coming across the NS. Again, this is all power that's already been gone. The G50 was relatively new when they got it, an old Northwestern engine, and they only had it a couple years. Swinging back towards Blue Island, this is Blue Island Yard on the harbor. I got just a couple shots left here. This is a NS train yard, some harbor power at sunset. Variety in the morning, a number of years ago on the east end of the yard here with harbor jobs and CSX job departing. The newer school of harbor power now, these repainted lightning stripe engines and that olive green. This is a Jeep SW combo on a local at the Harvey, which would be at the west end of Blue Island Yard. Complete with a caboose, which is always good. Equal at the west end of the bar yard on CSX, which is just up the street. There's 2 jobs at Harvey Junction, this is actually a CSX train with the NS first responder engine, same spot at Harvey Junction. We'll swing over towards Blue Island. One real quick shot here at National Railway Equipment. This place is all kind of being dismantled now because they're getting rid of all their properties, but at one time this was a good place in Dixmoor where you could see all kinds of power, and CSX runs right by it. So this is just an aerial shot with the drone. Blue Island Tower with a CN job that runs daily out of Clearing Yard and goes over towards their tracks. This track now was former Grand Trunk that they're running on, which is now CSX actually. They're crossing over the harbor at the Diamond here. Aerial of a CSX intermodal on the harbor, coming eastbound. And back in the good old days, a pair of SD20s, which are now gone off the roster, coming through the junction. This was shot off our Rock Island district. One coming and one going, auto trains at Blue Island. On left, the tower on the left was actually a gate tower and not an interlocking tower. It is now gone. And a couple quick aerials here is Iowa Interstate coming down track 9 with their Heritage engine as a BNSF auto rack goes by. And one more shot of Rock Island Heritage engine. This is them pulling over towards 9 with another, I forget whose move it was, but with NS power coming by. And two more shots here. This is on our Rock Island district. This is our CSX J746 coming by the interchange at Robbins with good mixed bag of power. And an aerial of the Iowa Interstate coming in on our Rock Island district as well with their power. We just, we would not be complete without a CSX who employs quality people who perform quality work for a quality company. And it shows. Good, thank Eric for that. This is the end. And if you want to see more, I did 2 videos on the subject. Some of the photography accompanies some of the videography. I got it on Blu-ray and DVDs. I do it with C Vision Productions out of the Twin Cities. If you go onto their website, they have it. It's a 2-part series. And if you want to see more, there's a lot more on there. Thanks for your time. Sorry it took too long.
Awesome, Marshall.
Thank you.
Let's give Marshall a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Photography there.
Thanks.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Before we move on, did anybody have any specific questions for Keith or Marshall? Okay.
I do. I just one, the Indiana SD90s. I really didn't follow that. Were those run-through trains, or what was the deal with those?
No, the one that you saw there was one that NS has used. They rebuilt those since then. They're all been black, but when they first got them, they were still in Indiana.
I see Keith had some shots up on the CP though, and I seem to remember.
Yeah, for a while those ran off their railroad in Indiana. They came up to Roseport, up to the Twin Cities there for Coke.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it's kind of 2 different things that you saw going on there. But yeah, they kind of brought them around 2 different ways there on a couple different roads for a while.
All right, cool.
Yeah, they were pretty regular through Milwaukee on the Coke trains. So yeah, that was neat to see.
They looked great, but they were junk. They were just awful.
Yeah, I got shots before that 90 era when they used to run with SD40s, and that was kind of neat with the Montana Rail Link. Well, they were releasing Montana Rail Link SD40s, and they ran them on those trains. That was kind of cool.
So Marshall, you mentioned at the beginning of the program that some of the photography was by Courtney Albrecht?
Yeah, I had, she's, gotten the bug to go out and shoot. So I let her come along, and we did a bunch of shots in that area. Cause again, it's easy and a fun place to go and shoot and see a lot of trains and,
Oh, and so some of those shots were actually hers.
Yes.
Awesome.
So she does great work.
Good. Well, they were all excellent quality.
Well, thanks.
I did have a quick question for Keith, actually, if you don't mind. The Chinese steam that you had, they had those like flanges along the sides of the locomotive. Do you know what those were for?
The elephant ears,
Sure.
smoke deflectors to keep the smoke going up rather than back.
Oh, fascinating. I had no idea.
844 has them too. So the Union Pacific steam engine has smoke deflectors. So I don't think the big boy did. I think the Challenger did a while, but yeah, those are smoke deflectors, or elephant ears as they like to be called. So.
Right on. Thank you.
Excellent. Sure. Excellent. And folks, for the 90 or so folks that are here, many of you are members or supporters of the Wisconsin chapter of the National Railway Historical Society. And if you are not yet a member, please take this opportunity to go to our website, www.nrhswis.org, and you can become a member right away. Easy enough. So with that, we shall continue with
Hey, Mike.
Yes, Jim.
As far as those smoke lifters, the New York Central used those heavily on the late model Mohawks and on the Niagaras.
Indeed.
So the Mohawks were their name for 482, the Niagaras were 484s.
Got it. Excellent. Excellent work, both of you guys. Okay, Steve Glashinsky, are you ready to go?
Say, Marshall, what plant did that bottle train come out of? You said Riverdale, but where does it originate? Do you know?
Yeah, I think it's another Ursular property. Again, like I said, I think they've sold all that now. I think it's Cliffs Erie now that owns it now.
Yeah, okay. I was down there 50 years ago, so I'm trying to sort out which plant went to which plant.
Yeah, I think Acme Steel was Acme Steel, I think, is what it was called there by Riverdale before it became.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. They must still have a blast furnace going there.
Yeah.
Okay.